Would you want to serve food on something that you used to stand on? That was my goal with this build, converting old oak hardwood floorboards that I got from Facebook Marketplace for my favorite price, free, into a serving tray. In a prior video, which I'll link to in the video description, I showed how I cleaned up the floorboards so that I had usable material. Here, I'm gluing up a few of those cleaned up oak boards into a small panel. I haven't done many panel glue ups in the past. In fact, this might have been my very first. I made some mistakes, as I am wont to do. The plastic wrap you see under the boards was intended to provide two benefits: protect the router table surface below, and not stick to the workpiece after the glue dried. Maybe I should have considered that as I positioned everything, the excess glue from those joints would smear all over the bottom side of the panel, necessitating a lot of cleanup later. My clamping situation was also less than ideal, but for the most part, it got the job done. Well, except that it didn't. I wouldn't address the problem with the glue up until after planing in my BYU sandals. It's not particularly wise to wear open-toe sandals in the shop, but I guess I really needed to represent my alma mater that day. But that's when I ran into another problem. The panel got stuck in the planer. I had to shut down the planer and raise up the cutters to be able to extract the panel. I found that the planer had dug in a bit of a gouge on one side. Luckily, that gouge was positioned close enough to the edge that I could just cut it off instead of having to fix it. I'm a big fan of discarding my mistakes instead of addressing and actually fixing them. Speaking of fixing mistakes, it was time to correct the poor glue up. Between two of the boards in the panel, there was a bit of a gap. So I ran the panel through the bandsaw, cutting through the joint. To prevent part of the newly separated panel from falling off the bandsaw bed to the floor, I used my cat-like reflexes to trap it with the other part of the panel while I shut off the bandsaw. Back to the glue up. This time, I put a small board under the plastic wrap so that I'd have more room for the clamps, which was a better setup than the first time, but still less than ideal. To draw out my pattern on the board, I used a combination square for the straight stuff, a roll of double stick tape for the curved stuff, and a pencil for the actual writing stuff. I'm not much of an artist, so I need all the help I can get in the design phase. This design, with its long, straight sections combined with gentle curves, was not particularly difficult to cut out on the bandsaw, which suits me pretty well. Those who are subscribed to the channel or who otherwise watch my content know that in addition to being a poor artist, I'm also not particularly good at making small or tight curved cuts on the bandsaw, or really anywhere else. While sanding the edges of the tray, the camera was apparently experiencing supernatural phenomenon. I used some of the larger offcut sections, preferably the ones without gouges in them, to cut out little round pieces for the feet of the tray. I won't make you watch how many times it took me to get those small, tight, curved cuts to be somewhat round. Before gluing down the feet, I sanded the edges to get rid of the bandsaw marks, but also to round over the bottom of each foot, getting rid of the sharp edges. I used a very complex technique to attach the feet to the tray. It included applying glue to one side of each foot and then sticking the glued side of the foot down onto the bottom of the tray in a predetermined configuration, with the intent of matching the flow of the grain. It took me many years to master this technique. I also ran the top of the tray through the router table using a double roundover bit, but I can't seem to track down where that footage is, so you'll just have to trust me on that. I opted not to use any stain. Let me know in the comments, should I have used some stain on this? Or do you prefer the look of the stainless wood? Also, what food-safe finishes do you like to apply to wood that, like this serving tray, will be used in the kitchen? For the finish, I'm applying an oil wax mixture that I got from Mike at Dan's Homestead. I'll link to Mike's channel in the video description. I may be a bit biased, but even though people used to stand on this oak wood, I think it turned out well enough to serve food on it. Check out another project I made with the oak floorboards using the link on the screen or in the video description.